Now that we've talked about the different relationships, the distance, formula, the perimeter, idea, mixture, problems, we need to tackle that idea of describing two things using only one letter. Okay? In the very first video, we had the money that I had and you had, and one of us was X and the other one was X plus or minus 4, depending on our starting point. Many times, however, we don't know how something was split, but we know the grand total of what we started with. Okay, those of you who've been through another one of my classes before, we've done this project over and over and over again, so you should be pretty confident in it at this point. But if I have a board and that board is 10 feet long, okay, I'm going to go into the shop and I'm going to cut 2 feet off of this end. How long is the other end? Most of you would spit out 8 pretty quickly, and then when I say, well, how did we get 8? Once you look at it for a moment, hopefully you would recognize that we got 8 because 8 is 10 minus 2. So then I go back into the shop and I get another board out. All of my boards are 10 feet long. Okay. And this time I cut 6 feet off of one end. So then if I ask you how long is the other end, you would tell me it's 4. And we got the 4 because 4 is 10 minus 6. So then, just like it happens every semester, I go get another 10-foot board out of off of the shelf, and I am in the shop and I'm getting ready to cut it, and I have the saw ready, and just as I go to cut it, one of my girls walks in and I look away and I cut the board into 2 pieces. But I didn't measure it, so I have no idea how much I cut off of this end. If I need to represent the length of the other end, then that would be 10 minus x. When one end was 2, the other end was 10 minus 2. When this end was 6, the other end was 10 minus 6. So when this end is x, the other end is 10 minus x. Okay. There are many problems, probably over half of them, where something, whether it's a board or whether it's our money or whether it's the perimeter or whether it's the distance, is split into 2 pieces, and we don't know how it's split. Okay, meaning it's not split right down the middle where each board is 5 feet long. Okay. I designate one of my parts to be X. It does not matter which one we designate to be X. Okay. And the other part is whatever I started with, in this case 10 feet, minus X. Okay, so if X is 1, the other end is 10 minus 1. If this end is 2, then we have 10 minus 2, and so on down the line. Okay. Maybe I have a bag of jelly beans. Okay, I have a bag of jelly beans in the cabinet and I know that there's 100 jelly beans, okay, in the bag. And I pick it up and there is a hole in the bag and some of those jelly beans fall on the floor. Now, without stopping to count, I don't know how many there are there. Okay, so I'll call that amount X. Okay. The rest of them that are still in the bag then would be represented by the 100 jelly beans I started with, minus the X that fell on the floor. Okay, that relationship there, that pair of expressions is X, and 100 minus X. Okay. I live 15 miles from town, and maybe I'm trying to get there and I have a flat tire. Okay. And I have no idea how far I've driven. So I'm part way to town. I say I'm X miles from my house. Okay. If I'm X miles from my house, that means I'm 15 minus 15 minus X miles from the college. Okay. If I know the amount that I'm starting with, whether that's 10 feet, I have to go purple there, or 100 jelly beans, or 15 miles. Okay. We could even, with money, maybe I have $400, and I'm going to put part of it in one account, and the rest of it in my closet, so I have a stash in case I have an emergency. Okay. Part of it, I don't know, I just, in my hands, I grab a handful of it, put it in the bank. The rest of it is the $400 I started with, minus the part I put in the bank, which was X. Okay. Splitting something into two pieces, one of them is X, the other one is what I started with, minus X. And that fits into any type of word problem that we do. Okay, distance, mixture, interest, counting, any of them. Okay. With the mixture problems, we have a couple of different situations. They all relate together with these thoughts and some of the counting ones we started the videos with. Okay, sometimes in my mixture, I know my grand total. Okay, in my mixture, there's always two parts. Okay, we are stirring these together, we are mixing them together, whatever you want to say, but when we're adding our two parts, okay, that's addition. We're going to add our two parts together to get the whole. We said, hopefully just a couple slides ago, that if my formula that I'm going to use here is how many or how much times my unit cost or value or concentration to get my total cost or value. So sometimes I know that I have a total of 50 pounds of my mixture. Okay, maybe that's what I know. I know that I'm making 50 pounds of trail mix, or I'm making 50 pounds of whatever my mixture happens to be. Okay, so I know the grand total there. But I don't know how many of each ingredient I have. So I can split it into two pieces using this thought right here. Meaning one amount is X, and the other amount is the 50 pounds I started with minus X. Okay. Sometimes it says something different. It'll say how much do I need to add to 3 gallons of whatever my solution is to get some kind of result that is specific. Okay, so one of my parts is 3 gallons. They're telling me I have 3 gallons of that. When it says, how much do I add? That's what I don't know. Okay, so my other part is X. I know a fixed amount for one piece. The other amount, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do I add 1 gallon to it? Do I add 6 gallons to it? Okay, I don't know. So if these are my two parts, then my whole is the sum. Okay, we said we always add the two parts to get the whole. Okay, some mixture problems, we know the grand total. My goal is to make 50 pounds of trail mix. Okay, then I split it into two pieces like we did on the page just before this. Some of my mixture problems, I know one amount and it says, how much do I add to that? Okay, well then I no longer know the grand total, but I know it's the sum of the two parts. Okay, in either case, this is the sum of these two parts. This is the sum of those two parts. Okay, two of these three pieces will have x's in them. One piece out of those three will have a number value. Okay, every problem is a little bit different, so you have to read to figure out which case you have. Okay, but it's usually one of these two situations.